Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. I'm your host, David M. Frankel, and you're listening to Perky Collar Radio Show. My next guest today is Kamela Hurley, and she's the founder of Madison and White. Kamela, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can definitely hear you, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. So, Kamela has a great product she wants to talk to us about, and we share a lot of the same experiences and backgrounds, so this is going to be quite an entertaining show. So, Kamela, kick us off with a little bit about the why. Why did you get into bringing a product to market and help people understand what the product is and how they can find it?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So Madison and White is the company that believes beauty actually starts in bed. So what the company has done is created beauty kits that have two focuses, and one focus is for hair and the other focus is for skin. And basically what's inside the kits are pillowcases that work like beauty tools. Oh. So I don't know if you can wrap your head around that in the beauty world. This is kind of like a disruptive idea of what a beauty tool can be. So I got started with this idea actually in 2015. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had been I just decided, because I had like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, that I had no time to go to the hair salon and have my hair done properly. So what I did is I grabbed a box of dye from like the drugstore, and there was complete with a girl who had like, unicorn hair. She had like purple, green, blue, and it looked great on her, but I'm like, I'm a mom and it's just not the style I want to rock, I guess, in my world.
Sure.
But she's like, you totally can dye your hair yourself. So I dyed my hair and I completely ruined my hair. It was like horrific. It was such an obvious, like, you don't know what you were doing and you shouldn't have done that.
Get ready to wear hats for a couple of weeks type thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, totally. It was like, wow, there's just like no way. It was like do it yourself ombre kit, right? So It's like, that's the really difficult hair color style to achieve at a salon, let alone trying to do it yourself and you have no background in it.
Right. I'm sure your 3-year-old's brutally honest, like, Mom, what did you do to your hair?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no filter with a 3-year-old, so.
Totally, like staring and poking at my hair. So what I had to do is figure out ways to make my hair healthy. And one of the things that was sort of a revelation at that time, this was around the time that that Allie Webb of Dry Bar started this concept called a blowout. And that was a beauty disruptor in the hair industry. And essentially the idea of a blowout bar is that you go into a salon and you have your hair washed and they style it and that's it. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, because I don't know. And she has over 90 stores today. I mean, the revenue's in the double-digit millions. It's pretty phenomenal. But one of the things that came out of having these blowouts is like learning that like you shouldn't really wash your hair. It's not really good for your hair. And also like if you do style your hair and you're a busy mom, like you don't always have the time to wash your hair and then take the kids to school or take the kids to school and then go work on fulfilling your career for the day. So I went to a beauty supply store and I remembered, silk and satin pillowcases are supposed to be a really great way for you to extend your hairstyle so you don't have bedhead. And then, so then you don't have to wash your hair every day. I mean, so when I went into this beauty supply store and I found the satin that they were selling, it was literally like this aha moment where I touched the product, like I actually touched the satin pillowcase, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, I know I can do better. So from that, I literally went out and started researching textiles and fabrics, and I came up with what was a luxury satin pillowcase, and I gave it to friends and families, and everybody fell in love with it, and I feel really thankful for that, because that's a tough crowd sometimes too, right?
Sure.
Sometimes they can like really boost you up, and then sometimes they can just be brutally honest. But in this case, they started telling their friends about it, and I actually started getting orders to hand make these pillowcases off of my kitchen table. So after I had gotten a lot of these orders, I decided to put it on Etsy, which is an online handmade website. And a week after putting my products on that ISBE website, I was contacted by a beauty editor and by a producer of a nationwide show in Canada called the Marilyn Dennis Show, and they said, we'd like to have your products on air. Would you mind? And I was like, no, I wouldn't mind at all. And I'm like doing a happy dance on the other side. Yeah, don't twist my arm, but yeah.
Let me think about it. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, so like literally I was like driving to Toronto, gave them the samples, and 2 days later I watched the show air live, because it's kind of live like how Kelly and Ryan is live in the States. And so I got a full minute of airtime about how my pillowcases work like a beauty tool, and that they work to stop the bed head, to reduce sleep wrinkles, extend your blowout, reduce the amount of hair that you lose because the surface is just ultra soft. And I literally sold out of fabric, trim, and it was pretty crazy because I was still a stay-at-home mom, and I had no operational organization. I handmade every single order.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's basically the founder story of Madison and White. And, fast forward to November of 2017, I'm officially, have my own box. I'm in retail stores. I'm in the process of, working and negotiating some other larger big box deals. So knock on wood, we'll see where we go.
How exciting. Now, I just did the Christmas show here in Charlotte, and Mr. Pillow was everywhere, and he's got commercial all over TV. Is there a potential relationship between Mr. Pillow and Madison and White, where you have the perfect pillow to give you the support you need, and you get the perfect pillowcase to keep your hair looking good as a beauty tool?
Is it Mr. Pillow or is it
Pillow.
My
I'm
Pillow?
sorry, My Pillow.
My Pillow?
Yes.
My Pillow is phenomenal. They just came out with a bed topper too. Did you see that?
I have not seen that. I figure they have some extensions pretty soon. My Pillow can only go so far. So
they do. Well, right now I'm positioned this company as a beauty tool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really at this moment. I'm not really. I'm interested in a partnership with companies that are more in the beauty industry and less in the bed industry. So I mean, I'm a firm believer in slumber parties. And so I always keep my options open, because there's nothing wrong with talking and learning from other people that are entrepreneurs, or who are successful businesses like My Pillow. In fact,
add-on. Yeah, hey, you just bought a My Pillow. If an optional add-on, you can add on this beautiful product. It's a female that calls in to order. I think it'd be a simple little add-on.
Yeah,
they're just buying from you by the thousands and thousands at a time.
I know. Well, see, like that's how a partnership can really benefit a small company like me. If you partner with the right company, it can really help pull exposure to a larger group of people. So if there's anybody out there that's thinking about how to get exposure without having to hire PR agencies and I guess marketing agencies, because let me tell you, this is a 100% bootstrap company, and I'm very proud of that. And it's a great learning experience. Just to be really efficient and creative is like one of the best assets that you can have in business. Learning to make stuff work, even if you don't have, access to every resource available.
Exactly. Right. Well, tell us a little bit about the journey. I know obviously there's always ups and downs. Is there a down point that you hit, and how did you get through it? And tell us about another point. Maybe that it's a big retailer that picked you up, or just a success story that kept you going. Because I think everyone has that moment where they're grinding and grinding and grinding. They're tired. They want it to happen faster, and it just doesn't happen as fast as they want to. And they feel like going back to work for their corporate America boss. But they they decided to keep going, and they had success. Give us a down point where you said, hey, you know what? I don't know if I can keep doing this. Maybe I should just be a stay-at-home mom and not do this. Or your husband said at some point, I want you to get back to work.
Yeah.
Give us a story. Then give us something that's real.
Yeah.
But it was a low point for you that you got through. Because I think everyone hits them. It's just how you handle those down points is a key turning point.
I think, okay, personally, you always have to have a game some kind of game plan for when you hit those low moments. Like whether like for me, I can jump on YouTube and watch beauty vloggers talk about makeup, or I can jump onto a podcast and listen to other entrepreneurs talk about their business, or exercise, fitness are just such wonderful tools. When you feel stressed or when you feel like you hit a wall, I always suggest have some sort of game plan in place for what to do when you hit those moments. So if you notice, I said 2015, which seems like a million years ago. And part of the reason why it took so long for me to actually be retail ready is it's more of a personal story about the downside of getting this company started, and it's also a really personal story. So I'm just going to share with you that, like, the way I feel about it is my husband didn't really want to go on the journey of starting this business. So it's been very difficult because when you have a passion and when you have a dream, you want to have people support you. And I did try for a while to, sort of, shut the process of this business down. But prior to getting to that point, I just want to say that, like, once I had aired on the Marilyn Dennis show, it sort of gives you proof of concept.
Sure.
Now, I'm a born and raised girl from Southern California. I'm from Orange County. And so I'm just inserting that into the dialogue because I moved to Canada to marry my husband. And so I guess maybe because I am American, I've always sort of believed in the American dream, that when you have a passion that you really need to chase it. And in fact, on every single one of the boxes that I have right now for Madison and White, it says, look good, feel good, dream big. Because I really feel like if you take the time daily to look your best, you feel good so that you're motivated to chase your dreams. So, so I've always been that sort of person, maybe I'm a West Coast dreamer, but, but I really feel like to give your life that meaning and that when you finally get to the end point of your life and you look back, I just want to be one of those people that say, I tried, I went for it, and I didn't, have to compromise. So after I had gotten on the Marilyn Dennis show, I was hand making pillowcases. And then I got to the point where I was selling so much that I started to purchase fabric from jobbers, which in Toronto or even in like garment districts, whether you're in LA, San Francisco, New York, jobbers are the people who collect leftover fabric from the fashion houses, and then they sell it in smaller quantities. So I would go and purchase like bolts of fabric, and then I found a manufacturer in Canada to sew for me. And then I would go into like any kind of like bazaar, any place that would have me, I would be there selling my pillowcases. So I would be inside church basements. I would be at a botanical gardens, like holiday show. And then they have these stores in Canada called Shoppers. And I would do fundraising events for breast cancer there, where I would sell pillowcases to shoppers that come in. Now, the interesting thing is that Shoppers is sort of like a luxury upscale, convenience store. Mm-hmm. But they also have a beauty department where they have like Stila, they have Lancome, Urban Decay, Chanel. They have some very, top shelf brands there. And so that's where I would sell my pillowcases. And that's how I moved from making the pillowcases on the kitchen table to having them made. Mm-hmm. And then I started selling all of my sewing equipment to try and make my personal life, like just to try and be like, okay, I'll shut the business down. But things ended up not working out for us in the end. So I'm still in the process of finishing up the divorce, and I 100% wish my ex peace and harmony and the absolute best for him too. But just at a certain point, I think that in order to fulfill a dream, whether it's like running a marathon or, starting a business. You really just need to surround yourself with people who support you.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, so it's not, this is like not the prettiest story to say that, like, that probably starting this business led to, there were other issues at play too, obviously, but it didn't help is what I'm saying. And
sure.
so, yeah, so just navigating that, and
it's a lot to juggle too. You're trying to launch a business. You're trying to deal with that. You're trying to take care of your kids. It's a lot to juggle, and the bills on top of that, and
yeah. So now I'm single.
I've learned from relationships. It has a lot to do with how your husband, or for the men out there, how your wives, how they're raised. Were they raised in a 9-to-5 household? And if so, they just expect you to get a 9-to-5 job. And if you're not getting a 9-to-5 job, it kind of freaks them out. So that's the tricky thing. I think as you get into your 30s and 40s and 50s, I think you start looking back and saying, hey, who I'm attracted to in my 20s is very different than I'm attracted to in their 40s. And you start learning more about how they were raised and how you start to see some of their childhood surface later on. And, you start running into some challenges, especially when it comes to, like you're saying, you went to launch a business, he wasn't on board, and it became, a point of dissension. And obviously the family support, it's tough. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners and people watching, they've been there, done that. And they had to choose between their husband and their business. And they had to choose their business over their husband, or sometimes they pick their husband over their business, and now they wish they wouldn't have, because now they're divorced anyway. So I think there's a lot of challenges out there for people that hit those crossroads.
Yeah. And it is challenging, but I kind of feel like it wasn't so much like marriage versus business. It was really about like stepping into what's authentic for me, and not having to people please. I think everybody's had the experience of wanting to make others happy.
Sure.
But I really think if you make yourself happy first, then you're able to make everyone around you happy as well. I mean, it's sort of like, when you're on an airplane and they tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, so that then you can help, whoever you're with. So I just think that analogy is just so brilliant for talking about, a healthy, harmonious way to live. So when you take care of yourself, you have the ability to take care of others.
I agree with you 100%. But you have the critics out there that say, hey, you're married, therefore your husband should be the first priority. Hey, you have children, your kids should be first priority. And I think that's a big mistake. I think you're right. The first person that needs to be taken care of is yourself, because then you don't have enough health, enough happiness to take care of people that you love that are closest to you. But you have people that think, you're being selfish if you take care of yourself, you're doing this. And you can't make all the critics happy, nor should you even try. But you do feel that guilt at times, especially once you become a mother, you feel guilty, not putting the kids number one, but I think you're 100% correct. All the moms out there listening, I think it's a great message to send, is take care of yourself first, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, and that's what I want to model to my children too, is like having the courage to live an authentic life, because I don't want to have to diminish the light that I have in order to try and make somebody else happy. And, another thing that I love to tell people, it's a no judgment zone. I mean, it's a really personal dialogue between me and my ex-husband. And right now, I mean, I'm probably still trying to sort out everything that just happened. But at the same time, I really know that I made the right decision, to move forward into a more peaceful life, by not having to have the conflicts and, around starting the business. And, there are those moments where I'm like, wow, if he had just had faith in me, or just sort of believed the journey that I was on, he could be part of this ride.
Right.
But then, it was his choice to not necessarily believe what I was doing. And I will tell you, I mean, I've done like several important trade shows, and at every trade show, I still have the big money guys come up to me laughing, saying, why in the world would you ever start a company that sells pillowcases as beauty tools, right? So
that's fuel to the fire, though.
And it's really funny because, when I have people come up and laugh, which is funny, like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I sell pillowcases. Oh, okay. It is sort of funny, right? So, I mean, I love to see the humor and everything, but like, once they start to see the sort of reception that I'm getting from people, and the fact that women really get the fact that have so much going on in our lives, whether you're a career girl, you know, that's just starting in on, you know, pursuing their career dreams, or whether you're a stay-at-home mom. Even that's, I mean, it's going to sound crazy, but it's hectic.
Sure.
Taking care of children is it is a full-time job that is so underappreciated. So for all those stay-at-home moms out there who have a passion to start a business one day, I want to say, don't be scared. It doesn't mean your marriage is going to end.
No, sure.
And then the other thing I want to say is that that really, if you have an idea, find a way to execute it right there on the kitchen table. Start small, prove your concept, see if it's something that will work, that other people are willing to buy, and then you can slowly start to scale, which is what I've done. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and you know, and it's such a journey. You know, I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers, but it's just a process of growing and learning, like any other aspect of life. So it's been pretty phenomenal that I'm here, to be honest with you. It's really surprising, but I couldn't be more passionate or excited. And it's definitely something that I want to model to my children as well, that you can be, you know, a single mother and you can start a business, and you know, and you and you can be stressed out, and then there can be days where you just like need to take time off to hang out with the kids. So you know, it's sort of like, I don't have a very clear-cut chart on how to successfully do everything. Mm-hmm. I just sort of, you know, work with the moment and sort of use some of my intuition to sort of help me get through with having a business and now being a single mother. So
sure.
It's an interesting journey.
Sure. Is family able to help you? Obviously, you know, if you go on a trade show, you have support from the spouse, then obviously the spouse can watch or make sacrifices. Maybe he wasn't willing to make those sacrifices when you make those trade shows. Now is an area of contention. But is there family close by in Canada, or are you going back to Southern California? What's your next step as far as to surround yourself with people that can help you, you know, in those situations of growth?
So I guess I see, and I feel really thankful because I feel like my ex-husband and I are working to co-parent our children.
Oh, good.
So that's really fantastic. So I'm really delighted about that. And he's been actually a really big help when I've done the trade shows. So it's interesting too that just, you know, going through this process, what you learn as a result of, you know, I guess once you're separated, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but there are things that you learn through going through the separation and the divorce, and it's nice to see that I feel like he's developed a stronger relationship with the children, and so there's been a lot of really good benefits to come out of our divorce. So, you know, with everything in life, I just work to stay positive.
Sure.
I know that he's had to go. I know it sounds funny, right? But there's been times where he's had to leave for a week, and I've had absolutely no problem, you know, having the children for a week. So I feel lucky that that's something that's happening with us. Like, right. we don't fight with each other. We just sort of acknowledge that this is where we are right now. We just want to work at, you know, healthy co-parenting. So I'm thankful for that, for sure.
Exactly. And I think it's a whole other episode. Just how do you work a business and deal with kids and deal with, you know, everything in life that throws your way, you know, and as they get older and they get into sports and they're traveling and got to be in two places at a time, all those different things. I mean, that's a whole other episode, a whole other talk show altogether. Because it's tough. It's for some reason it's taboo in which you can't talk about. Like, you're just supposed to figure it out. And, you know, we have a good number of children, and, you know, we're always going different directions. I was in Savannah this past weekend, and I took all the boys with me, and wife had kind of a girls' day or a girls' weekend, and we had a boys' weekend. But it's nice when you come home, and it's like everyone appreciates you a little bit more just because you had a little time apart, you had a little time to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and my older one's able to watch the little one, so I could have some adult time with other parents. I mean, it's just about trying to find each other's space and doing things that are right for you. And, you know, you're still thinking about the business. I was still able to squeeze in a new retailer in Savannah, Georgia, which was nice, but I had to rely on my older son to watch him so I could do those things. So like I said, that network of people around you is so crucial to keep moving forward each and every day. Some may be a huge leap, some may be a small step, but every step forward is a positive one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and maybe for the children, it fosters the confidence to be independent, to take journeys I mean, it's certainly not often that you have, I mean, I feel like, you know, most entrepreneurs are not women. And sometimes, I mean, I hate to have like a gender conversation around what is an entrepreneur or who's the majority of being an entrepreneur. But I will say from the perspective or through the lens of me being a woman, there can be those extra challenges about how to navigate those waters when you have children. So, I do like being able to model to my daughter, especially that you can have successful relationships with your children and have a business. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and you just make space for everyone. And my children are still young, so they're in kindergarten and first grade. So, and they're into Taekwondo. So thank goodness they're at the same studio, so that reduces the need to have to drive around. Right. But it's also interesting too. So flipping back over to more of like the entrepreneurial perspective, because this is my first time business. I just want to also encourage people out there to use the resources that are online to help you understand the waters that you're navigating. You know, there's a website called Coursea, and it's COURSEA.
Okay.
And basically all of the, you know, Ivy League to state universities to international business schools have created web content of the classes that they actually have at their universities, but they've put it online.
Oh,
so, so like 2015, that was around the time that I had taken like a free online course through I think it was the School of Maryland, the business school at the school, or Rhode Island. Oh my gosh, I can't remember right now. But it's the #1 program for entrepreneurship, and just having the ability to take that class for free, it like changed my life. I suddenly felt like everything that I was doing in my life made sense. And even now, like I have a fine art degree from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And it seems really funny that now I'm like an entrepreneur selling pillowcases, but I really feel that like my education totally makes sense for what you have to do today to be able to succeed.
Exactly right. And you have to be able to wear a lot of hats. So the more educated you can be, the less you have to hire because you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Is Perky Collar your first business, David?
No, we had a photography studio back in 2000, I guess around 2001. We had that for a couple of years, and it's because I came from the industry for about 12 years. So I was like, oh, I can do my own studio. And then I realized how hard it was to get leads, and we're doing door knockers. And I thought a lot of my clients over the last 12 years were going to come to me, and it didn't work out as well as we were hoping for. We enjoyed it. We loved it. But that was our first time working together, and we obviously organize things differently. I'm more of the animated photographer. My wife was more of the, she handled the props and the creation of props, and
got you. Yeah.
It's tough when you're around each other all day long. That's a true test of relationship if you can handle working with each other during the workday as well as after the workday is over. So, and the photography industry changed too. It wasn't just the business that didn't make it. I learned from the business, but photography's changed a lot. Everyone has a camera on their phone now. And for that reason, I don't think people appreciate photography as much as they used to. So I just kind of saw an industry that was kind of shrinking, and I just didn't want to make a living out of that shrinking industry any longer. But I learned from it. I think you have to have a failed business to learn from it and make sure the next business is more successful. So this one I learned is there demand for my product. That was my first step. And I said, stop me anytime if there's not enough demand for my product. Because, again, there's a lot of babies out there, a lot of kids out there. People always want pictures. But if you have it, it's really easy to take your own, then the percentage of people that need you are less and less. So it's a learning experience. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, I will say that having a photographer's eye will always be able to give your images a bit of a creative edge over, let's say, your competitors. Sure. And good lighting is the tricky part. And that's one thing you can't get with great camera phones is the lighting is never great. Where with our professional lighting, we knew everything looked great, and the eyes were the spotlight was in the pupil of the eye, and it had, everything looked crisp and clean and perfect. And now that I brought a product to market, I'm able to be a lot more knowledgeable as what I'm looking for, especially when you sell on Amazon, making sure it has a white backdrop and no shadows. And, you have a more, like you said, a more tuned eye or a more skilled eye than you would if I didn't have that experience. So that's a great point.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is I have a similar background. After I graduated and got my fine art degree, I was a stylist for commercial print in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And so I had assistants, I had a team of photographers, sets were built in order to sell products. And it was my job to create the environment to sell the product in.
Oh, perfect. That's a great background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked with photographers. I have, a photography background as well, but I really love styling. And what happened was, right as I came in with the start of the digital shift with catalogs, with the catalog industry, we would shoot sometimes for, some of my images appeared in like Time magazine, or, hotel guides, in Chicago and stuff like that. But most of the stuff that I was shooting was catalog. And I watched the industry go from, this multi-million-dollar catalog, marketing system or whatever you call it, and it totally downsized to the point where I actually moved back to California from Chicago and went into interior design, where I worked in residential interior design until I met my husband, and then I moved to Canada. So I do have that like styling background. And then I also have I've always loved like a perfectly made bed. I have that from my family, but I also have that just, from the interior, design aspect of how you construct a beautiful environment. And man, I could sit here and talk about that all day too. And I just
on behalf of all the men
probably
out there.
won't be as valuable to just sort of flip back over to maybe where I am now, where this sort of strange niche that I feel like I'm in within the beauty world is the competition is heating up daily. There's new companies launching. So I would also say to people who are starting new businesses, find a way to make your product really differentiate from whatever else is on the market, and take an opportunity to really think about how you position your company and what your strategy is for making your product rise to the top. So, I mean, that's kind of like something that I work at a little bit every day. But I mean, for you, your product with Perky Collar was like amazing because, it's an invention, the first of its kind. I mean, right? Am I wrong about that, David?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the hard part was packaging. That was my next question for you is, now that you have this great pillowcase, how much time and effort did you put into packaging?
David, I can't hear you right now. I'm so sorry.
I said, now we got into, I was talking about packaging and how important it is packaging is to your product. I know with the Perky Collar, we spent about 6 months designing packaging. What was your process, or how did you pick out the packaging for the pillowcases? Okay.
Yeah, and you can hear me okay, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, because you got your audio just sounded a little bit crunchy for a minute.
Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
But you wanted to hear me speak about how Madison and White went about packaging.
Yeah.
So I think one of the skills that I have is my ability to research. I've just always loved researching, whether it was, for a project when I was going to university, or whether it was, just a curiosity. So I'm really good at getting online and scouring the web. And some of the companies that really inspired me, it was Dry Bar. Their packaging, the way that they put together that very first blowout bar, I love, with the buttercup yellow, the idea that there are, I think, 5 different types of blowouts based on drinks. So like there's the Mai Tai blowout, things like that. I always really loved their packaging as well as, basically what I did is I put together a list of the companies whose packaging I really liked.
Okay.
And then what I did is I jumped online to try and figure out who did the work. And I was able to find people who had worked for Dry Bar.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that at all the trade shows I've done, people have just truly loved the packaging. And it's a very different package, and I'm really proud of it. I think it looks great. And I love the ribbon handle. I like the simplicity of it. So I'm really happy with it. So essentially what happened was I sent an email out to them, sent my products to them. They did their magic. And then they sent back, mock-ups of what the product would look like. And then I was like, I love it. And then I sent it off to China. And that's kind of a nerve-wracking process too.
Sure.
And I just want to backtrack a little bit too, from when I started on the kitchen table to when I started having it manufactured in Canada. One of the things that I was not able to accomplish was having the textile that I needed having the actual textile spun and woven for me was something I couldn't have done in North America at a reasonable cost.
Okay.
I was getting quotes back at cost on the pillowcase was like $100, right?
Wow.
That's not reasonable. I don't want to have a product that expensive. So that's not happening. So I connected with my supplier that's in China. They spin the fabric for me and sew, and then through them they help to agent the retail boxes through a source that they have. And basically it's kind of a scary thing. I didn't jump a flight and go out to meet them. I just sort of rode a wave of, I hope this works.
Right, sure. Little hope and faith.
Yeah.
So now the pillowcase and the box are both made in China, and they come together ready to go into stores.
Yeah, that's right. And
that's
then
great.
I sea freight it out to the West Coast where I have a warehouse.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think China is definitely the best place to have packaging done, and a lot of times sourcing your product as well. You just have to be careful it doesn't go out the back door, which I know is always a big fear for China. But as long as you're working with reputable people, I think you're fine. And I also found that you can do reasonable quantities with China, where a lot of times, unfortunately, American companies want higher quantities. And if you're just starting out, it's tough to do 10,000 or 25,000 units when you're just trying to see if it even works. I started with 5,000 Perky Collars. Now, granted, I've ordered 3 times now. But
good for you.
China was willing to do a smaller quantity, hoping they could earn my business as I sold through those. Yeah. So did you find the same thing with your China manufacturer? They were willing to work with smaller quantities and better pricing, of course.
They've been really phenomenal. I just feel so grateful that I connected with them, that somehow I found the right people. It almost feels like divine. Right. That they were able to make the fabric exactly as I wanted them to make it. And then, when they got the specs for the packaging, they were like, oh, this is a bit, this isn't like a normal box, because my box, the center, like at the front of the box, has a cutout, like a rectangle cutout at the top and the bottom. So it looks like there is a band around the box that says Sleeping Beauty Kit, or it says Clean Skin Kit or Easy Mornings. And so it's not a very traditional design either. So, and I also quoted out the box in the States, and they wanted like $10 a retail box. And it's like, that's not economically feasible at all. Right. Like, I don't know who they sell to. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. So, best of luck to them. I'm very happy that I'm working with the supplier in China, and also that they are a responsible supplier, because it is an Okia Tech Standard 100 factory. So that means that there's no harmful chemicals at the factory or in the product, because creating products that are sustainable is a value that's important to me in this business. So
that's excellent. And I think it also helps that you make a product as a reasonable price box, so you can make the product affordable to your customers too.
Yeah,
so that
absolutely.
has a big factor in your success as well. So if you want to what's the price of the pillowcase currently?
So I have a hair care focus, which I had mentioned, and then I have a skin care focus.
Okay.
So the hair care focus is the luxury satin pillowcases called the Sleeping Beauty Kit. You get 2 pillowcases in one box for $59.
Okay.
And so if you compare, like, the luxury satin pillowcases that I sell are the cruelty-free alternative to silk.
Okay.
So I've used silk pillowcases as the competition, and in fact, I used to sell silk until I had somebody mention to me that that creating silk isn't a very pleasant process. So I literally went on YouTube and then quickly discovered it takes 3,000 silkworms being boiled alive to make 2 pillowcases.
Wow.
And I had silk product inventory. I literally liquidated and said, I don't want to be a part of that process ever again.
Good for you.
Like I said, it's a no judgment zone. You do what's right for you. I just know that I didn't want to model that sort of business to my children.
Sure.
I wanted to make something that was like 100% vegan, so there's no animal byproduct, cruelty-free, and cruelty-free beauty is huge.
Sure.
And sustainable. So I'm really happy to say that about all of my products. And then the other product I have is called the Clean Skin Kit, and this is an industry first. And I produced slightly less than I did of the Sleeping Beauty Kit because I had a hunch that this would be a great product, but I hadn't really had the opportunity to prove the concept as much. But that being said, and being an entrepreneur is sort of like being a calculated risk taker. I had the kit made. So the Clean Skin Kit is 4 organic bamboo pillowcases in one box with the days of the week embroidered on each side so that you always sleep on the clean side of the pillowcase. So every dermatologist esthetician will tell you sleep on a clean surface, especially if you're dealing with breakouts, acne, any sort of skin sensitivity issues. Just sleep on a clean surface. So this is the kit to help you flip-flop your way to cleaner skin.
I never thought about that before. As being a factor in clean skin. So this one's Yeah, exactly. So, and that one retails for $99. Okay. And you get 5.
Yeah. You get 4.
You get 4. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you get 4. Yeah, you have 4. And then I have a kids collection, which is the same luxury satin pillowcase in a box, because nothing's worse than those hair battles that happen in the morning for parents when you have to brush your children's hair out and it has knots and tangles.
Sure.
Well, if you just change the pillowcase that your kids sleep on, then you're able to help reduce those knots and tangles. And that kit is called the Easy Morning Kit, and that one retails for $59 as well.
Oh, excellent. Well, it sounds like you thought of everything.
Yeah.
It's a problem that most people just thought it was part of life, and you just got to wet the hair down and take a shower in the morning in order to have reasonable hair days. But you've found a new way to address both the complexion as well as the hair. That's excellent. Well, I really appreciate your time, Kamela. I think you're onto something really huge, and I'm honored to share this information with my listeners and my viewers, and I appreciate everyone tuning in. And thank you so much for being a guest today.
Oh, thank you so much for the honor of coming on this show. I'm really excited to be part of your journey as well. So thank you.
My pleasure. And you're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. And we'll be right back after the break.